All right. Now we're going to learn about the Second Uprising, led by Louis Riel, and this is the Northwest Rebellion of 1885. So just before the rebellion, we have a community of 500 Métis living on the North Saskatchewan River. Now, John A. Macdonald had promised a railway to BC, so he was building a railway, and the Métis, they were in the way. And so we have a very similar situation where new settlers are moving into the area. Government surveyors are coming and are ignoring the long river lots, the Métis style, and drawing up square blocks right over the existing farmland, just like it happened at Red River. And so we can see here one of the settlements on the North Saskatchewan River close to Batoche, and you can see the long, thin Métis style lots all connected to the river. And then, right beside you have the square government style lots that were being surveyed. And so this is the exact same problem. The Canadian government continued to not respect Métis land rights, the settlements that existed, and we're just going to apparently shove them aside once again. So after the Red River Rebellion, Louis Riel had fled to the United States. The Métis in what would be Saskatchewan, they figured that because he had been successful leading the Red River Rebellion, that Louis Riel was the one to lead them again. And so they sent Gabriel Dumont, one of their best hunters, to go and retrieve him. And so December 1884, led by Riel, the Métis of Batoche sent a Bill of Rights to Ottawa, list of demands. They wanted the land issues to be solved. They wanted to have two provinces created west of Manitoba. This would happen eventually, Alberta and Saskatchewan. And they wanted food rations to be provided to their First Nations neighbors. The Métis were all too aware of the starvation happening on reserves near where they lived. Louis Riel had been very effective in the Red River Rebellion, but the man brought back from the United States was a very different man. He'd become much more paranoid, much more deeply religious, and while probably not mentally ill, was definitely overconfident in his own abilities and overconfident in how much assistance he would get from, the Almighty. Gabriel Dumont, on the other hand, was a much more effective leader, at least militarily, and if he had been given free rein to fight as he saw fit, the Northwest Rebellion certainly would have lasted longer, certainly would have caused more damage to Canadian forces, but he was reined in by Louis Riel. So John A. Macdonald decided to issue scrip again to the Métis. They were given choice between receiving cash for their scrip or receiving land. And having seen exactly this, the last time Riel set up a provisional government once again, and this time he suggested armed rebellion. And the first fighting broke out near Duck Lake. Now, the account from official historical sources reminds me a lot of, Black Lives Matter style, police reports. There are oral accounts passed down through the Métis saying a very different story, and in my opinion, much more believable. The police encountered a Métis hunting party. Both groups were armed. They tried to negotiate to avoid fighting. And here's where the different accounts diverge. According to the European Canadian history, the two negotiators sent by the Métis to talk to police forces, a very senior First Nations individual grabbed the firearm from its holster of the translator on the government side, and then the police officer had to shoot him, and that's when the fighting began.